We own a tractor, a trailer, a really small shed and 17.5 acres, but we are $500,000 in debt. This is the one tile challenge. Can we farm ourselves out of our troubles? Hello everyone, Argsy here. Welcome along to a new video series called the One Tile Challenge. Now this is a challenge series created by Sorch Farming, managed a bit through Rusty Money Gaming, that's where I came across it, and being done by a whole lot of different content creators across YouTube and things. We thought we'd give it a go. I've always said I wanted to do one of Rusty's challenges, so I thought this one would be a good one to do, but we are going to do it a little bit differently. I'm not going to show you everything that we do. This is going to be a whole year, or our whole first year here, because I think this could take a few years to get done. I'm not going to run down through all of the settings and setup for this. I've got some links down in the description if you want to follow along, as well as a explanation of the rules, or go along and check a couple of the linked videos I have there from Sorch Farming and Rusty Money, which both explain how things are set up. But yeah, as I said, this is our plot of land, plot 46 here on Calmlands, and we are $500,000 in debt. So time to get to it. You can see our shed down there. We are going to go and get into things. This grass doesn't look long enough just yet. We have a planting window of August, September, October to get some barley, canola or some wheat planted. So I think our first step, we are going to get some productions moving. We're going to get a greenhouse up and going, and then we're going to move into the next month and we will look at getting some grassland equipment, get all of this mowed before we think about creating a couple of fields and getting things planted. I am going to have to be incredibly careful that I don't go and overspend my allowance, because money is tight and it is going to be a challenge. So let's go tackle the one tile challenge. The land was empty, the bank account even emptier. It was time to start making some income. First step, a small market garden. Lettuce seemed like the easiest way in. Picked up the basics: water, seed and fertilizer. It wasn't cheap, but necessary. I did hit a snag trying to unload. The materials didn't quite go where I expected. So we added a shovel to the toolkit, manual labour, here we go. Once everything was in place, the lettuce was planted, watered and left to grow. A small start, but it was something. September came fast, and so did the grass. It had grown well, so it was time to harvest. We picked up a mower and got to work, even though the rain didn't let up. It was not ideal, but the yield was looking promising. Next, a windrower. Got the rows tidied up. Still raining, by the way. Then came a forage harvester and a trailer. Grass collection was officially underway. Built a silage bunker to store everything. We'd need it later. Collected around 137,000 litres from that first field. Rained the whole time, but we pushed through. Compacted the grass, left the cover off just in case we added more later. With harvesting done, it was time to create our first real field. We bought a plough and got to work. I couldn't afford the stone removal, so those stayed. Not ideal, but we made do. Found a small lime and fertiliser spreader to prep the field properly. Then we seeded the canola, thinking long term here, eventually want to press it into oil. With one field done, I mapped out 2 more by mowing their shapes into the grass. We windrowed those new areas. The plan was to pick up everything and repeat the silage process. Could you believe it? After 7 hours in the seat, fuel was low. A quick trip to the shop to top up. While I was there, I grabbed a pallet fork. The lettuce was adding up already. 4 pallets, about $10,000 worth. Back to work, we finished the new fields and packed the bunk with nearly 350,000 litres total. A solid start for our future silage sales. Got it compacted and sealed it up. Now we wait for it to ferment. Still had plenty of daylight, so I got both new fields ploughed, following the lines from the mowing. A few more trips for lime and both fields were ready to seed. I decided on barley and wheat, some diversity to help us down the line. Again, not the perfect setup. We still had stones, no roller, but the fields were all seeded. And with that, the future was in motion. October started with a reminder from the bank, $1,666 in monthly interest. That's a dent we can't ignore. Time to start thinking long-term income. Lucky for us, the lettuce garden's humming along. Couple more pallets added to the shed. The silage is still cooking, might be ready by the end of the month, but no promises. The main farm task this month? Fertiliser, round 2. Gotta keep those crops fed. But first up, we expanded our productions. We set up a small apple orchard. Apples now, maybe some apple juice later. Had to top the orchard up with seed and fertiliser to get the production humming. And then it was back to the fields. One full hopper took care of all 3, not too bad. And the extra fertiliser, it didn't go to waste. We used it on the lettuce and apples. Later that day, the silage was ready to sell. Problem though, we had no easy way to load it. The solution, an auger to scoop it and a bigger trailer to haul it. Worth the spend. With our new trailer, we could hold 28,500 litres per trip, so we were going to need to do about 12 runs. With each load earning 3,420, slowly but surely the bank balance climbed. Final silage payout, $37,562. Paid off the trailer, the auger, and then some. There was a little bit of chaff left over, some spillage from earlier. Back in the pit for next time. That's October done. New month, new goal, passive income. So we built a vertical wind turbine. $6,000 up front, but about $800 a month back. Not too bad. The lettuce was piling up fast, so time to sell, but we needed a flatbed trailer first. Fortunately, we'd already bought a configurable trailer, but needed a workshop to swap the setups, so the shed got an upgrade. Reconfigured the trailer, then made a run to the store for our lime, seed and fert stockpile. To load everything properly though, we picked up a front loader and some pallet forks. More tools, more jobs. Back at the farm, we loaded up the lettuce. Time for another delivery run. After driving across the other side of the map, we got to the sell point and then went and chose the wrong side. Classic. Improvised with the tractor as a pallet pusher. It worked, eventually. Lesson learned, but a solid $20,905 earned. Can't complain about that. Back home, we loaded up our first apple crates by hand. Thankfully, they were still light enough to carry. Both the lettuce and apples needed more water, so a quick top up with the tank before sundown. And, to round out the month, we built ourselves an apple press. Juice is next on the menu, and with it, another potential income stream. Winter's settling in, and with the fields asleep there's not too much to do, except the usual lettuce and apple hustle. Apples into the juicer, lettuce and juice into the trailer, it's time to hit the market. We set up a couple of new sell points at the store. No more long hauls across the map. One for the apple juice, one for the lettuce. Total game changer. The apple juice brought in a crisp $8,800. Looks like we've got ourselves a golden delicious little side hustle. On top of that, the lettuce added another 10 grand. If this keeps up, we've got a solid daily income. Back at the yard, we stock up on fertiliser and seed, top off the greenhouses and orchard. And we add a water pump by the apples to make things easier in the cold. Then we call it a day. A new year, same game plan. Lettuce, loaded. Apples, juiced. Juice, delivered. The morning run brought in $24,000. The farm might be frozen, but the money's certainly flowing. February begins with the usual routine. Lettuce, apples, sell, repeat. Another 23 grand in the bank, but it won't stay there for long. We kicked off our next big plan, trees. Picked up a planter and 60 lodgepole pine saplings. Planted them along the borders of our fields and between fields 2 and 3. Now we wait 5 years. We also added a new greenhouse, but this one's a little bit different. We're using it to grow wheat and corn for now. You'll soon see why. A little bit of quick landscaping work, tidying up a few edges around the yard. It's not just about crops, gotta look good doing it. Our March morning sell-off brings another 21 grand. And we make a splash, literally. We dove into aquaculture, building our first fish tank. The greenhouse is cranking out wheat and corn as feed. We grab some mineral feed from the store to help those fish grow fast and healthy. Our first batch of fish sold. Not a gold mine, but steady income is steady income. Added on top of the lettuce, apples and apple juice, we're looking pretty good. Back at the farm, the little bit of grass in the yard was long enough to cut, so we moved all the gear and got mowing. Windrowing was really a challenge, but eventually we had lines we could follow. Picked up 35,000 litres of chaff, got it compacted and covered, another batch of silage on the way. With all the equipment out of the way, we did some yard upgrades, some gravel paths laid out, finally making it feel like a proper farm. Even added a new storage shed, no more gear left out in the rain. Wrapped up the day, tending to the greenhouses and fish feeding. That was April done. May rolls in and the fields are looking fantastic. Golden heads swaying in the breeze. Harvest season just around the corner. Meanwhile, the greenhouses and productions keep chugging along. Lettuce, juice, apples, there's always something to load, move and sell. In fact, the juice is falling behind. Can't squeeze them fast enough, so we're just selling apples direct. Quick turnover, less mess. All up, 29 grand in the bank. If we can keep this pace up, that loan doesn't stand a chance. And, in the spirit of working smarter not harder, we added another passive income stream, bees. Tucked in by the apple trees, they'll be turning blossoms into honey and honey into money. And that's it for May. Calm skies, steady income, the quiet before the harvest storm. June dawns with our first real milestone. Golden barley swaying in the morning sun, ready for harvest. But before we get stuck in, we run the usual routine. Clear out the productions and pocket a tidy 30 grand. Then, it's go time. Harvest means we need a combine, our first big purchase. Nothing flashy, just a solid old school 17 acre class machine. Affordable, reliable, and just the right size. First lap in, and the hopper's full already. Either that's a great yield, or a tiny hopper. Probably both. The trailer's full and we've got no storage, so time for another investment. A grain silo. We found a good spot, wrestled with the terrain a bit, and may have left ourselves a tiny speed bump. But hey, we've got storage. And with the barley all done and 37,000 litres tucked away safely, it's on to the next job, baling. We grab ourselves a square baler, much easier to handle than those round bales, and set it to the maximum bale size. Fewer bales, less work. Zooming through the field, the tractor doesn't even break a sweat. 11 giant bales later, we're sitting on 99,000 litres of straw. Now to figure out what to do with it. With the field empty, it's time to think ahead. Can't plant much this late, so maybe some grass? More silage never hurts. First up though, mulching. Chopping up that barley stubble helps return nutrients to the soil. And instead of buying a cultivator, we put the old subsoiler back to work, though it does kick up a fresh batch of stones. So, we grab a stone windrow. Budget friendly and should make collection easier. Should. Turns out it doesn't like the pre-existing stone rows, so we end up with a bit of a patchwork mess. But hey, plan B works. We load up the front loader and clean the field by hand. Not quick, but effective. And with the rocks gone, we load up the seeder and go with grass. Still early enough in the year to hopefully squeeze in a cut before winter. A quick trip to the shop for more seed and fert, and we're back in business. We finish off with a pass of the roller. A bit of extra yield never hurts. Wish we could pull it behind the seeder, but sadly no hitch. Maybe a future upgrade. And that's June in the books. First harvest completed, field replanted, and the farm rolling forward, one row at a time. And just like that, we've made it, month 12. One whole year building this farm from scratch. First up, the daily grind. Chores done, production's cleared, and another solid income ticked off. Another field's ready, this time it's wheat. Combine fired up, let's get to work. The field doesn't take too long, and by the end we're sitting on 33,000 litres of wheat. Some for storage, but the rest has bigger plans. Right from the start, we wanted to mill our own grain. Better returns and more control. So we add a compact grain mill and feed in 15,000 litres of wheat to get it churning. Then it's back to the baler. Straw's worth something too, and this time we've got a use for it. Compost. We add a new compost bunker to the yard. We unload bale after bale, split them up and start compacting. Organic gold in the making. A couple of bales did go rogue, a bit too eager when we cut them. Nothing the front loader can't fix though. We did need to add some weight to the rear. Once tidied up and packed in, we'd built a 70,000 litre pile ready to ferment. Straw into compost, ready to bag and sell down the track. Our last few bales go into the shed, and just like that, it's time to turn the field over again. First pass with the mulcher to chop the wheat residue. Then the plough to fold it all into the soil and build our next seed bed. Last time we tried windrowing the stones. This time straight in with the bucket. Less fancy, way quicker. We also swapped out our seeder. This new, well, old model has a rear hitch, so with a trailed lifter we can roll and seed in a single pass. Traction proved to be an issue pretty quick, but a quick trip to the workshop and we're back with rear jewels and some front weight removed. Problem solved. One last pass across the field, dropping seed and pressing it in behind. Slower than I imagined, but certainly more efficient. And that's it. Grass seeded, field set. Our final job of the first year done. One full year of farming, from nothing to this. From our first pallet of lettuce to harvesting our own grain, building production lines and laying the groundwork for year 2. What a ride. Well, we survived year 1, and who would have thought we would convert what was a barren piece of grassland into this thriving little farm. Now, we haven't paid off any debt yet in the first 12 months, but we've certainly set ourselves up with a regular steady income, all the equipment we need to be able to start servicing that debt and clearing out that $500,000. I've got to say, I love that I placed the shed down on a crooked angle, because there's such a nice little story when we look at everything else there. Why is the shed on an angle? Just love that. But there we go, that is the first year done and dusted. Looking forward to seeing what we can achieve in year number 2. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.